With the release of Snapshot 25W41A came Minecraft's newest weapon, the spear.
And in this video, we're going to go over some of the pros, the cons, and best uses for this new and unusual weapon. For this video, I'm going to be using the spear against some of the overworld's most common mobs, to see which mobs to use it on and which ones not to. Starting with zombies. When it came to fighting zombies, I noticed the spear is actually really good at hitting multiple enemies. I feel like it may even rival the sword, and that's something I did not expect. I was able to sweep attack 2 or 3 zombies at the same time, while the spear could easily hit 3, 4, and even 5. Because zombies stick together, I feel like the spear will do very well against them. So for zombie combat, I'm giving it a solid pass. But baby zombies are a slightly different story. Although the spear has good reach, when something gets within 2 blocks of you, the spear can't attack it. And because of how fast baby zombies are, trying to do a charge attack at them doesn't work well, because it shortens the distance between you and them too quickly. So for baby zombie combat, it's not a pass. Because spiders are also fast, charge attacks don't work too well against them either, but they have a much larger hitbox than baby zombies, so you won't miss them as often. Because of this, I feel like the spear still works pretty well against them, so for spider combat, I'd say the spear passes well enough. The next overworld mob on our list is creepers. When I first heard of the spear, I thought they would be good at keeping creepers at a distance with their long reach. But it's important to factor in the spear's decreased knockback. I fight creepers by running directly at them before attacking to do a sprint knockback attack, and then I run away as fast as possible. This keeps creepers at bay and is pretty reliable, especially when fighting only one creeper. But the spear is incapable of doing sprint knockback attacks, so while the spear can reach farther, the sword can knock back farther. This kind of balances things out, which makes it tough to define a clear winner. But honestly, that's a good thing. It's good to have different weapons that each have their strengths and weaknesses, so I'd say it's ultimately up to preference. And for creeper combat, I give it a pass. And now, moving on to our final mob, skeletons. My strategy for fighting skeletons is to use a shield to block the arrows and critical hit with an axe in between shots. And spears are completely incapable of doing any of that. Firstly, when you hold the use button, you lower your spear instead of raising your shield, meaning you'd have to switch to a different item if you wanted to block with a shield. Secondly, even if you did want to juggle between items, you wouldn't have enough time to use your shield because doing a charge attack takes more time than it does for a skeleton to charge its bow. And lastly, I guess you could use jab attacks, and it would let you stay at a distance, but because skeletons use long-range weapons, being further away from them will actually give them the upper hand. I feel like the spear does pretty bad against skeletons, but every weapon has its weak points. For using spears on skeletons, it's a definite nope. And so concludes my list for combat against common overworld mobs. But you may have noticed that I've only focused on a small part of combat, leaving out what may be the spear's greatest use, horseback. Now, I've never really used horses because they're pretty tedious. I'm so far off the ground that I can reach mobs about as well as a toddler can reach the pedals of a motorbike. I go so fast that I way overshot the mobs I'm trying to attack and end up having to put my dang horse in reverse. And I have this giant horse head right in my freaking face, which means I have no idea what's biting me. But the addition of spears is a game changer for this. The extreme reach of the spear lets you hit mobs that are on the ground a lot easier, and overshooting mobs isn't a problem because you don't have to time your attack perfectly. When you make a charge attack, your spear attacks for you. The spear's charge attack also does more damage on horseback because you can travel much faster than you can on foot. Fighting on horseback still has its difficulties, but in my opinion, there is no situation I'd rather use a sword or an axe when I have the choice of using a spear. So for combat on horseback, the spear is certainly a pass. The damage of a spear's charge attack is dependent on how fast you're traveling, so the faster the horse, the more damage you deal. Which raises the question, how well will the spear work at the speed of a firework-powered Elytra? So me and Will decided to test this out on some pigs. I think we were mostly just goofing off the whole time, so I don't really have much to add except that it was really cool and I highly recommend it. Adding a new tier of weapons to Minecraft is obviously going to give players an advantage in combat. And as with all of the game's updates, when one good thing happens, they make sure to add a challenge to balance it out. So while I was walking through the night, minding my own business, I believe I found what that balancing factor is. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you, the zombie horse has finally made it into the game. And now zombies ride them while holding spears, so I'd better run. In conclusion, the spear is a great weapon that adds amazing new mechanics to the game of Minecraft. And while you may still prefer using axes and swords on foot, it may still open up a new way of combat that just might make you want to craft a saddle. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.